What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Cyrus Obsidian here at Obsidian Games, here to bring you another episode of Local Diaries. So let's dive right in. So I know I've been a little MIA. We had some cooking with Mimighoul that we did do, but we have been cooking up a couple other decks, and I just can't wait to play this one. So we're bringing this one up to the forefront. We're going to put our other two for later. And this is going to be one of my personal favorites in Ad Ignister. So Ad Ignister was a deck that first came out in Ignition Assault during the COVID era. If you remember that, I do apologize. Something we all lived through, but we came out stronger because of it. Ad Ignister, when it first came out, was a deck that was very resolved around the Arrival Cybers Ad Ignister, an untouchable boss monster that was a once per turn pop, able to create a token, and was just a big beat stick. Nowadays, that deck has evolved from that. When we later got support in MathMech, we got support from Brothers of Legend that gave us, our one card combo with Dark Infant. Also gave us I Meet You, Danmari. We got a lot of good support from it and for the deck. Now with the new cards that came out in Wizard, Ad Ignister, Backup Ad Ignister, and iConnect, we get some more extenders that we can play with in this deck, which is really awesome and what the deck did need. And now with the extra deck being super tight, we're left to some decisions. So we're going to show you our deck profile to see what decisions we did make for this deck, because I think it has a potential to go crazy when left untouched. But when it is touched, we're going to figure out how to play through that. So let me show you the deck profile and then we'll head out to locals. All right, you guys, here is the profile that we are going to roll with at locals. I am super excited again to play this deck. I have been waiting for this support to come out. So to kick things off, we are playing 3 copies of Achichi Ad Ignister. He is our one card combo into everything that we need. We are playing 3 copies of Picari Ad Ignister, because this as well is also a one card combo. We are playing 1 copy of Doyon, 1 copy of Boobaroo. 1 is necessary. You could up this to 2, but playing the many cards that we're playing, we wanted to keep it as low as to the ceiling as possible. So we are playing only 1 copy of it. Next, we are playing 3 copies of Wizard Ad Ignister with 2 copies of Backup. This may look particularly strange because Malice players play 1 copy of Wizard with 3 Backup, but I like playing the 3 Wizard, and you'll see why with some of the ratios that we play for the spells. We are playing 1 copy of Danmari. This is another reason why. We're playing 1 Gachiri, 1 Doshin, and 1 Hiyari Ad Ignister. So we are pretty much playing every Ad Ignister monster minus the Ritual for the main deck. And honestly, this is really stellar lineup as it is. You are opening up a lot of ways to combo and extend through interrupts. Droll is probably the hardest one to play through, but it's not entirely impossible. For our spells, we are playing 2 copies of Ignister Island. We are playing 3 copies of I Meet You, 3 copies of iConnect, 1 Fighting Spirit, 1 Idol Reborn, and then the 1 of Sidekick for our traps. Again, the Ad Ignister stuff and the Eye is just some of my favorite stuff to have been released from an anime deck. I have loved it since its conception, since it came out in Ignition Assault and then later got support through the years, through Brothers of Legend, and then later on down the line in, oh my goodness, what was that set? I think it was still Brothers of Legend, but could be wrong. But yeah, so we're playing 3 iConnect, so if we do open up any of these one-ofs that we don't want to see, like the Danmari, we can use iConnect to still get it on the board and then get our Achichi and combo off. We can also return one of the non-dark Ad Ignisters to the deck to add our Achichi and still combo off. Again, it does play into Droll heavily, but we're gonna see as we go how well that works. And then the 2 Monster Reborns I really like. I think they are definitely necessary. We even thought about putting in a singular copy of Monster Reborn, but I opted out against it, and the one copy of Sidekick, since it is searchable off of the new Firewall, or no, the Code Igniter, this is also just a really good negate, especially when you see what the end board can possibly end on. So it's just a good, target negate, which is awesome. And then for some cyber support, we are playing 3 copies of Cynet Mining with the 1 copy of Cyber Sage. And that's it for like all the cybers. One can argue this is a cybers pile, but the main core of this is all Adagnister, which is insane. That is all Adagnister right there. This deck is not a Cybers pile. The extra deck may look that way, but it's not a Cybers pile. And then the non-engine, which is very small, we are playing 2 copies of Ash, 2 copies of Valor, 2 copies of Droll, 1 Crossout, 1 Called By, and 2 Imperm. So we decided to go with 2 ofs for our hand traps, trying to keep it as low as possible, but also not like wanting to see, multiple copies of it. Because in testing, we did have like some hands where we opened up multiple Ashes, multiple Imperms, which not bad because we can still set them. And then we weren't originally playing Droll because we were going 3-3-3 and we weren't playing these, so we decided to put them in so that way we can have a crossout target. Moving on to the extra deck, we are playing 1 copy of Savage Decipher, 1 copy of Firewall Saber Dragon, and then 1 Code Igniter. So beforehand, we were playing the 1 copy of Light Dragon Adagnister for our I Meet You so we can get into Bikari. But we decided to put in a singular copy of Link Spider to help combat getting nibbed. Because if we get nibbed, we get the token, and we're kind of stuck because our island only lets us special summon as long as we control nothing in the main monster zone. So we just link off into Link Spider, and then we can keep comboing off, which is really great. Which rounding to our links, we are playing 1 copy or 2 copies of Dark Infant and 1 copy of Link Spider for our Link 1s. For our Link 2s, we are playing 1 Cybers Wicked and 1 Splash Mage. These are really good because Cybers Wicked can get us into the Buru, also the Adagnister, also the Cyber Sage, which is crazy. Splash Mage is just a really good generic link for Cybers. For our Link 3s, we are playing 1 copy of Heat Soul, 1 Dark Templar, and 1 Transcode Talker. These are really good targets for I Meet You. This gets us into the Doshin, Doyon, or any of the Wizard, the backup. Heat Soul gets us an Achichi, and these also have like their own really great effects for the deck. We all know Heat Soul for drawing, Transcode for a revive, and Dark Templar lets us revive 3. Also, secret effect. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon a Cybers from your graveyard, and it's any Cybers, which is really cool, so you can bring back any of your links. For Link 4s, we only play 1 copy of Access Code. He's our game closer. We play 2 Link 5s with an Allied Code Talker Adagnister and a Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid. So I like this package, this way of playing the deck. As you saw, we are playing the 1 Ritual, the 1 Synchro, the 1 Fusion, and the 1 Exceeds, which gives Firewall, Saber or Dark Fluid 4 monster negates, which is really awesome, and a buff during the battle phase. Allied Code being our Omni negate, which is awesome. And then to round it out, we are playing 1 copy of Firewall Dragon Singularity. Again, since we do play the 4 different monster types, this gets 4 bounces once per turn, and it is also an attack buff, which is really awesome. And most of the times our end board is looking like this, where we've got a nice little V-Link. Unfortunately, we do give our opponent a Link Arrow, but we are ending most of our times with a Transcode and Heat Soul alongside of our Allied Code to protect it with Transcode, and we get Heat Soul for drawing, which is just really, really phenomenal. But again, this is all just testing. We will actually see how this deck fares when we take it to locals. Moving on to the side deck, this is where things do get a little interesting. We are playing 3 copies of Mulcharmy Perulia with 3 copies of Mulcharmy Fulvos, This is just to help us dig into our deck, especially if we can just see a lot of resources. We're able to just play a little bit more. We probably will see a lot of our side tonight because we do play 2 copies of Nibiru and 2 copies of Ghost Ogre. I think these are really good slept-on cards. We also do play some of the board wipes with 2 Duster and 2 Lightning Storm. And then to finish it off, we do play 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet, because when we pair it with the Molcharmies, we're able to droplet. And since this deck is really just a 1-card combo deck, thankfully we don't get locked in attacking with 1 Cybers. Looking at you, Circular. We're able to like establish a board, and if we can get into our Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid does have a secret ability where it does gain attack equal to the counters it has. So if we're able to get all 4 types into the graveyard, it's 4 counters, boosting it up to 13,000, which is enough for swinging for game, which is, you know, slept on. So we'll see how well we're able to utilize that if we need to. But that is our Adignister deck profile. I think this is a deck that's going to be slept on because it plays way too easily into draw. But we're still going to roll with it anyways and see how far we can go.
What's going on? So here we are at Duke City. As you can see right here behind me, we've got a lot of events going on. Yu-Gi-Oh! Happening right there. We're going to round 1. We are playing 4 rounds tonight. Round 1, we play against Illusion Chimera. That hurt. We go game 1. He wins the die roll, goes first. Should have said low roll. But anyways, we had the Droll and Ash. That was enough to stop him in his place with Caesar. He made Caesar pass, and we had access to an island. We had multiple ways to just combo off, and that's exactly what we did. He had no hand traps. He just had the Caesar, and we would just grind it through until we ended on Dark Fluid, moved towards battle, and just swung for game. Game 2, he went first again. He was able to establish a better board as we didn't have enough to stop him in his place, but it was enough to just interact for a bit. I should have played it a little bit differently, gone Wizard first over Splash. That way I would have still had Splash, and I could have gone Transcode, bring back Splash, and just gone into Access Code from there. He had Book of Moonlight Bakari, so we were out a monster to like Link Climb, which is the one facet of the deck that really hurts. So we end up taking an L there. We go game 3, we go first, we set up full combo, we end Dark Fluid, Singularity, Allied Code, Heat Soul, Transcode, Sidekick, Danmari Engrave. We've got Sabers to Sapworm. We drew a Ash for turn, or for Heat Soul. So I mean, we were good, and we just cooked his entire board. We had 2 monsters on board. We were like, nope, we're gonna Singularity bounce it. We ain't taking any risks, and we took it. So we are 1-0 right now. When the deck goes full combo, uninterrupted, it's great. I mean, ending on that board was freaking insane, and we sequenced it. We did forget Code Igniter. Thankfully, we hadn't used Splash Mage yet, so we just brought it back and then linked off Firewall Saber, Code Igniter, and Splash into Templar. So we were able to recover, but should never miss the Code Igniter to get Sidekick. The Sidekick is really good. But we still got 3 more rounds to go. We'll see what happens. I'm hopeful that we'll do well, that we'll catch some surprise wins, but I'm not overly confident that this deck is the best, because, you know, there are other decks in the room that are still great.
All right, while we have time before they call round 4, round 2, we play against White Forest. We lose the die roll, he goes first. We had no hand traps, so he full comboed, set up his board. We drew for turn, we drew Droll, and I'm like, great, you would have been nice to have had last turn. Rather than just skip and go game 2, we decided to try and play it out as best we could, and we ended up with 4 monsters face down, and he just pierced and won for game. We go game 2. He Perulia's Ayash. That was his only point of interaction. We full comboed. We set up Singularity, Allied, Dark Fluid, Sidekick, Heat Soul. We had Valor. We drew Valor. So I mean, we had hand traps. We were cooking. We also had the Danmari Engrave. We had the Save Worm. We were good. And then we go game 3. We sided in the board breakers, Lightning Storm, the Duster. We kept Ogres, we kept hand traps. We sided in the droplets, and we saw no hand traps from starting hand. We saw Lightning Storm, Duster, and it was not enough to try and take it. So we ended up losing that one.
Yu-Gi-Oh players, your pairings for your 4th and final round of Swiss are posted. Yu-Gi-Oh players, pairings for your 4th and final round of Swiss are posted.
So there's round 4. Well, round 3, we play against Dragon Ruler Blue Eyes.
we go second, we lose the die roll again, and we were able to just point of interact with the no hand traps that we had. So we just went second. We just played as much as we could going into it. He made one misplay that kind of hurt him, but it was enough for us to capitalize on, and we go into Dark Fluid, swing for game. Game 2, thanks, we go first. We drew for turn. We only saw Wizard in our starting hand with Idol Reborn, Ash, Ogre, and something else that I don't remember. We ashed. He established a board, didn't swing because he had all of his stuff in defense. So we go draw for turn. We drew Signet Mining, which I'm like, all right, 1-card combo, 1 card plus discard. But we go Signet to get Achichi. Normally Achichi, he goes the Blue Eyes Trap, pop in that. We Idol Reborn it back. We link into Infant to add Island. He goes Ultimate Fusion to Tyrant. And since he had a Blue Eyes, he was able to pop 1. And then we full comboed and we made access code with Singularity, just bounced everything and just swung for game. So we were able to take it there. So we're 2-1 with 1 round left as it was called. So we're going to go into the next round and see where we go. All right, last and final round we play against Malice. Game 1, we opened up the nuts. He didn't. He conceded. We went to game 2. He went first, and we had no interruptions. So we tried to play as best as we could, but it just wasn't good enough. I think he actually passed it to me as he sat there and thought for a bit. Passed it to me, and then I tried to play, but it wasn't enough. He had a Bestial Ash, so I couldn't get into the field spell, which is what I needed. And passed back to him. He was able to just clap me on the OTK. Game 3, I went first. Couldn't get access into the field spell, which is what we really need. The deck needs the field spell to pop off. And we were able to get to it, so he was able to OTK me again. I think we've had some form of interaction though. I think we had I honestly don't remember. I just know I got my hand clean. So we had the Knight 2/2, placing 8th out of, I don't know, but it was 8th. So not bad for a rogue. I think Adagnister, when it's left unchecked, is really great. When checked, different story. Honestly, most people don't know that you need to hit the Infant. You hit Infant, which gets them access to the field spell. It kind of stops them in their grind. So that's what happened there. But I enjoyed playing the deck. It was super fun. I love this deck. We will play more of our other decks that we got lined up. We got Regenesis lined up. We got Shining Sarcophagus updated. So stay tuned for those as we get those going. But that's all for this little diaries, everyone. Let me know what you thought of Adagnister, and I will update a Mimighoul deck profile with some changes. That way we can get that out to you guys so you can see some combos on that deck. With that, we'll pass it over to you.